Matt, now 6:16 here on your Tuesday, and the big news as of last night, and as we reported to you earlier this morning, President Trump has chosen Judge Brett Kavanaugh as his Supreme Court Justice nominee.
That, of course, has political ramifications in Washington and across the country. MTN political analyst and MSU professor Dr. David Parker spoke with our Patrice Parks about the president's choice.
President Donald Trump has picked 53-year-old federal appeals court judge Brett Kavanaugh to become the next Supreme Court justice. If confirmed, he would fill the vacancy created by the retirement of Justice Anthony Kennedy. We are joined by MTN political analyst and MSU professor Dr. David Parker. Welcome. First off, Dr. Parker, is this a good pick?
So when I look at these picks, the first thing I ask myself is this pick qualified? And certainly strong qualifications here. The man's been on the D.C. Court of Appeals for about 12 years, so has a ton of judicial experience. So in that sense, very qualified. The only hesitation I have in terms of a pick is that he wrote a law review article suggesting that the president should be potentially immune from criminal and civil investigations and cases while in office. And that strikes me as a little bit bizarre given the fact the Clinton versus Jones case was a 9-0 decision, and the New York Times the Nixon versus U.S. case back in the early 70s was also unanimous. But other than that, he definitely has solid qualifications.
Okay, and what does this mean for the state of Montana?
The first thing you have to understand is that conservatives are going to like this pick. This is not a pick that was weird or outside the box. It was vetted by the Federalist Society. So if you're conservative, you love this pick. Flip that around. If you're a liberal, you don't like this pick at all. On several cases, on things like environmental issues, on contraceptive use, on rifles, this is definitely a pick that conservatives will like because he's conservative on those issues and liberals won't like it. And certainly a number of cases are going through the court right now where this justice would have a potentially big impact.
All right, and what are the implications for the Senate race? That's kind of the big question in Montana.
That's the secret sauce. It's kind of hard to figure that out. So on the one hand, evangelicals were not terribly thrilled with Donald Trump and his behavior, but you know why they voted for him? Because of the Supreme Court picks, because of Merrick Garland and delaying, and the Gorsuch pick, and this type of pick. So evangelicals might be more motivated to show up. There's definitely an enthusiasm gap that's going on around the country, so you might have a slightly higher Republican turnout. That's not necessarily great for Jon Tester. Regardless of how Jon Tester votes, I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. But if you got a little bit more Republican motivation, that could be a little bit difficult for him to navigate in the fall.
Fascinating stuff there.
Absolutely.